Hey everyone, welcome back to Nigel's channel. This is part 3 of the Fokker F.1 Dreidecker Voss build. Basically a Fokker triplane as we all know it. If you painted this red, it would be the Red Baron's plane. So moving on from the last video, you know I added the edit at the beginning and the edit at the end. This one starts with an edit at the beginning of this one as well, because what I did was looked at the wood again. This is now Sunday morning, Sunday the 14th of October, and looked at the wood again. I thought, yeah, I've toned it down, I've given it some tonal variation across the surface, but it just needs something a little more. So what I did, I got these two paints. This is Tamiya X24 and X26, clear yellow, clear orange. And I started off, I mean, literally, we are talking 5% paint to 95% thinners. And I started off and just gently gave it a very, very light coat of yellow just to see the, and it just, I think it's probably more of a varnish than anything. It just brings the wood out. I thought, a little better. I wonder if I can give it a bit of brightness. And I wish now I'd done this on camera. Next time I will. So I used the orange, again, probably 5% if less paint in thinners, basically coloured thinners, even weaker than a wash probably, and then just lightly blew that on and bang, out came the colour. So now I think I've got what looks like a realistic wood, because one of my concerns is, even like in the pros books, if you look at the Wings book on building the Gotha, it shows you about painting the wood. But would the wood really have been that dark? You know, I mean, it's almost like a bloody shed, a dark brown shed. You know, I don't think the wood would have been that dark. I think it would have been more natural with maybe some sort of protection on it. Did they have plywood in those days? What was this wood? I don't know. Please answer in the comments below. I'm new to Formula One, World War One, and I need to find out a lot. So, yeah, I mean, and I could also add that I've done the cockpit floor the same way, and it's just, I don't know, it just brings it out. So that's how I do wood. Start off with like a Tamiya buff or a very, very light tan colour. Let that go off. Airbrush some splodges onto it, some to look like knots and variations in tone. Then take some burnt umber oil and scrub it onto the surface, and then rub it all off with the same sort of, you know, knackered scrubbing brush, paintbrush, but you know, bristles all gone, so it's like a scrubbing brush. Let that go off, and then get some very, very light coloured oil. I used Abteilung Dead Flesh, and as you saw in the video, my last video, spotted that on and dragged it around. Let that go off overnight, and then do this with some of this Tamiya lacquer. And yeah, I mean, I think, when we put the fuselage together and we look down inside, we're not going to see very much. The biggest disappointment for me is the bits of brass showing through on the edges. I'm going to have to deal with that. But I think when you look down in there, I think it looks great, you know, for wood. So I think that's how I'm going to carry on doing it anyway. It's different than the way I've seen other people do it online. And of course this is different than if you're doing like if you look at my Thunder model Scammels, where they've got the wood already, the wood grain in the plastic, and then you're basically using that to make your wood effects. Whereas this is just a flat piece of featureless plastic, and you've got to try and give it some wood. And the other thing, of course, is when you're doing something like a military vehicle or a truck, that's planks of wood. And if you look at planks of wood versus sheets of plywood or whatever this is, it's different. Planks of wood have a much more pronounced grain, probably because they come from the outside of the tree. I don't know, I'm not a wood surgeon, but anyway, yeah, so there's our discussion on wood, and that's how I'm going to do it from now on. And next time I do some wood, I'll make sure I take you guys with me all the way. The seat is done. Hope you like it. It's I think I've got far too many studs in the base of it, but it was an experiment. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I've basically painted it with Guns Brown, and then gone over it with some Tamiya Red Brown, and then to get the sheen on it, something I learned. I was at the Telford Model Show. You tell me, guys. I think it must have been about 2001, 2002. It was when Tamiya came out with their 16th scale RC Pershing, and I think at the same time they launched the Famo tank transporter. And I was talking to a guy on the Tamiya stand, and if he's watching this, he may remember this. I asked him how he got that wonderful effect on the seats in the Famo, and he said it's quite disgusting, but it works. And I'll attempt to show you now. If you rub your finger down the side of your nose, there's normally some skid oil in there, and if you rub that onto the part, you can see it gives it a kind of sheen, and it's almost like dry brushing with your finger in oil. But you can see that it gives it a kind of natural leather sheen. Oh dear, looks like somebody's just dared to walk past the house. How dare they use the pavement. So yeah, I quite like that. I think it looks pretty good. But we'll see what it looks like when it's inside the cockpit. If I need to tone it down a bit, I will. So so there we have that. Wings, they're all assembled. Trailing edges are a bit of an issue with this kit. Difficult to get them to go down. If I did another one, I think I'd sand away the plastic inside to form a wedge so that it's actually the final edge. But there's quite a large area, you can see there. There's quite a large area that gets glued down. So I think in future I'll with the Rodin kit, I think I'll take the trailing edge away inside so that you end up with a finer point. This one, of course, has got the ailerons on it, so you don't have that issue. But yeah, the fit isn't bad. This is the little centre spar for the undercarriage, and then this is the lower wing. Yeah, so you've got the lower wing sits in like that. That's a nice fit. And then the mid wing sits in like this, and then we'll have the upper wing up on the top like that. So yeah, it's going to be a lovely looking model, whatever scheme you paint it in. But I say it's my first World War One. So anyway, not much going on in that one, but I'm going to put this away now and get back on with my 1 month build of the TACO Mark IV female German captured tank, which I'm hoping to finish for November the 11th in remembrance of the Great War ending. So yeah, thanks for looking in. You've had a description there on how I'm going to do wood from now on. You should give it a go. It's really not that difficult. If you've got an airbrush and you've got some paints, give it a go. You know, like I said in my last video, grab an old model, get some out of the cupboard. I'm looking for something in a bloody car boot seller. I don't know the car boot sales, but I'm hoping to see something come up, you know, like a 48 scale something or other with no instructions and missing parts and no box or something for £1, and I'm going to throw it together and use it as my my dummy for stuff like this. I've been through my stash and I can't bring myself to do that with anything I own. So yeah, sad, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, please like, please subscribe. There will be lots more like this coming forward, and there's a lot of sort of, it's not how-tos, it's not even how I do, it's like, watch me have a go at this, which is exactly what I've done here. And I'm happy to show you me cocking up. So yeah, not difficult, but yeah, I thought this seat was going to be a complete cock up, but it's come out all right. Too many studs, but yeah, it's all right. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later on today with the Mark IV build. Bye.